Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a Hands of Blue review. My name is Peter Sharon, a veteran of the video game and movie visual effects industry, and a lover and critic of comics. And today, I'm not really doing a review. I just want to talk about indie comics and kind of my thoughts on some of the things that go on with them. So I picked out three books, I can do the right number, that I wanted to share. One here is Jawbreakers by our boy Zach with a Ethan Van Sciver cover and I believe John Malin artwork inside. Great artwork. Next, John Malin himself with Graveyard Shift Volume 1 original cover. Signed. These are the ones I like. And also the very rare and awesome Salamandroid cover that Ethan did. And this comic, I believe, only sold less than 2,000 copies. And this is signed on the inside. I did open it and look, has the beautiful mirror back. I don't want to take it out of the case anymore. I did it once, and that's about all that's ever going to come out of this. And when I bought this, it was a regular $25 book with Ethan's autograph, along with the original Cyber Frog cover chromiums that I have, and the team up. And for $25 from a veteran like Ethan, being in the industry for so long, doing all the stuff he's done, totally worth it, in my opinion, as a collector, because I see these books being able to hold that value or increase in value at that price. From what I bought it at, that it's going to go up in value, 10, 15, 20 years from now. It's going to still be worth that $25, if not more, because of, who he is, and everything like that. Now, the Malin book, signed, and again, I paid $25, for this great book. And I still believe that this book will hold its value because of who Malin is, and, the stuff he's done, how long he's been in the industry and everything. And I think, since he's gained a lot more popularity and everything with all these books, since doing Graveyard Shift and stuff. And so I saw this as great deal, great value. So this is the remastered. I somehow forgot to buy it when it first originally released to get that first printing, but I got the remastered printing. And I can't remember if those ones were signed originally for that $25 range and stuff. But when I got this book, I had the choice between, do I get 2 copies of it, which I usually like to try and do, is get 2 copies of everything for $45 plus shipping, or pay $100 plus shipping for only 1 comic and have it be signed. Now, I went with the unsigned version because at this price range, I feel these comics will hold that value. And nothing against our boy Zach. Love him. Great stories, great writing. I really like the comic book and everything. But let's be honest. 10, 15, 20 years from now, will that signed cover of this book still be worth $100? I don't know. And I'm not a big gambler. I like to do safe bets where I can, have a good 90%, surety or plus that, like, hey, if I do this, I'm going to come out on top. It's going to be worth my money and investment. And what I noticed is the first time around when a lot of these launched, the Lone Stars, the Cyber Frogs, the Graveyard Shift, all these guys, like, most of the creators were doing all signed copies, like all the copies of Cyber Frog, Ethan signed, and, $25 a pop for those comics type deal. But this time around, or, now lately, like, I'm seeing a lot more of creators now charging more for the signed versions of things, and some creators, aren't that well known in the industry and don't have that same kind of clout or whatnot, or name recognition and everything like that, like a Ethan Van Sciver, maybe like a John Malin, or, a Doug TenNapel or Mike S. Miller, or some of these other guys that have, been around the industry for a long, long time, have a good reputation for what they do. Those books to me, I feel are going to hold their value because of that. It's like, Spawn and McFarlane, that number one issue is going to keep on going up in value, which one day I might actually pull that out and show it off to people who have never seen it before. But I have to think about that, because I don't like taking those books out of their cases anymore. I bought it back when it came out over 30 years ago. I read it, I put it in the case, and it's been in the box, and that's how I keep them, I don't let them come out a lot. That's why I've been buying 2 copies of these, so I can keep one in the case, pull one out, read through it, put it back in, but always have that one that's never been opened and touched for the most part. I wish I would have got 2 of these. Really bummed at myself that I didn't. But that's what I'm saying. Like, seeing these some creators now that are charging $35 to $50 for a signed cover, and for me as a collector, I got to look at that and say, is there value? Is that going to hold up 10, 15, 20 years from now to still be worth that amount of money, to still be worth at least that $50 I paid for that signed copy, or is it going to be more? I mean, I have comics from the 80s and 90s by Liefeld, by Jim Lee, McFarlane stuff, a bunch of those guys. And some of those comics, their X-Men's and some of their other ones, their Image stuff and everything, is not even half the price of what I paid for this still after, 30 years. Like, it's still, those comics are worth $5 to $10, some of them, the first Spawn that sold like 4 million plus or something comics. I can't remember exact number of that. It might've been a lot more than that, but I mean, that comic is valued. I've seen it anywhere from like a signed copy from $350 in a CGC sealed case, maybe to around like $700-800. But think of that comic would have been a lot smaller print run and less copies out there. That comic would probably be worth a heck of a lot more money, and so that's kind of where I look at it as a collector, is what's the, price I'm going to pay and the value of it going to be down the road, because I collect these. I don't just buy them to read and toss in the trash. Like, I want to keep these and have them be worth something later on. And so I'm a little conflicted with now possibly backing some of these books that come out and are charging more for the signed covers for a signature on it than, when you're already paying $25 for this book. And, like, no offense to anyone, I don't mean to talk, make this seem like I'm trying to talk bad about any of these guys, because I'm not. All these books are great, and I see no reason why they shouldn't hold that value or hopefully go up in time, because they're really low kind of print runs and stuff like that. But like I said, I have comics by great artists that are worth still only a few dollars 30 years down the road, and and also, to me, in my opinion, like, I know these guys want to make money, but like, I don't want to see books like, say, the Salamandroid, go out to like stores, like at least this chromium style of it, be able to go out and be released and have more people pick it up. Because with having less than 2,000 people that have bought this and have this, it makes it really rare compared to the original Cyberfrog cover that I believe sold around, I think Ethan said like 12,000 copies or so, to like this less than 2,000 copies of this version. To me, this is going to be worth a lot more money than the original Cyberfrog cover or even the Team Up cover because of its rarity. And if you go out and put more of these out there, you're just diminishing the value and collectability of these. Now, if they change the cover, take away the chromium, do things like that, that's one thing, because it's a second printing. It's not the original. It's not going to have the same value, or, like these, it'll still keep this book rare and highly valuable. But if you take this book as is and go and put out another 2,000 or 5,000 copies of it out into the, for people to buy, now this value is diminished. Stuff. So like with Mike S. Miller, for example, with Lone Star, the fact that he's reprinting issue 1, a second edition print of issue 1 with a little extra backstory in there, but he's doing all new covers. He's not releasing it with that same cover artwork or anything like that. He's doing brand new covers, which, holds the value of those original covers that they did in variants of the first print run. And now you have to get the different covers. And I like that because it keeps those ones rare. It keeps those ones at a lower number sale where people ain't getting those covers and stuff. And I know he is, I believe, selling some of those original ones on his campaign, but he's charging that extra money of like what they're selling for on eBay and everything. So to get those, you're paying, I think the original cover's around 75. That second variant is like 75 or so, and I think the team up he's selling for like 100. And so when he's doing it for that price, yeah, that's great, because if you want it, pay for it, I guess. But at the same time, it does kind of bum me out in a way, because now that more people are able to buy those issues, those first print issues with those original covers, it's putting more of it out there into the consumer world, meaning that mine are going to hold a lesser value and have lesser value over time, because once the hype kind of dies down because that's how it is. Things come out, people didn't get to buy it, lots of hype, lots of craziness, and people go put stuff on eBay, and people will, pay 2, 3, 4 times the original price because they want that number 1, that original print, everything like that. So they'll pay that extra money for that. But who says it's still going to be that way 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now? Hopefully it will be, but let's live in reality for a little bit. I mean, if the number 1 Spawn is, anywhere between like $350 for a signed comic to like $700-800 after 30 years, I mean, we got to keep it practical and reasonable. So, I'm going to be a little bit more judgy now getting stuff, that is signed and not signed and everything, and really kind of like, especially if those signed copies are, being sold for higher amounts of money over just the regular print, that's really going to, change my mind on stuff about what I back and get signatures on, or if I'm just going to sit there and be like, yeah, no, I'll get the comic for $25, like, 50 for a comic that's unproven is really a gamble, to like, because what if you pay that money 15 years from now, you try and sell the comic book on eBay, and, you can't ask more than $10-12 for it, because that's the price it's going for now. I mean, hopefully that won't be the case, but hey, you gotta be reasonable in your outlook of how this happens, But yeah, that's just my little rant, and I'm really hoping that, creators will keep the original runs of first prints and things like that to that print. And if they want to re-release them, throw out a variant, throw out something different that people haven't seen before or gotten before, instead of, possibly trying to turn out the same thing and then hurting the value of what that comic could have been with it being a really low print. Like Malin, with this book, re-released this when he did Graveyard Shift 2, but he did a variant cover. And if you wanted to get this cover, you had to, I think, back at a level that was around $250 to be able to get this original cover. See, so that, I guess, that to me doesn't bother me, because you're kind of setting the standard with him doing that of like, hey, it's worth this much. If you want it, you have to pay that big extra money, so it's, to me, I think that will kind of help that value go up, but or stay hopefully up, hopefully. But I kind of like how he did that. It's like, if you really want it, you got to still pay that big dollar for that original. But me personally, I'd like to see if they do reprints, anything like that, like a second edition print of these books, just give us new covers. Give us stuff to where it maintains the value of those first prints and runs, and, gives a second value to the other ones that people want to go out and get more, and keep them nice and rare like this. So I hope you guys like this little video. Please like and subscribe if you haven't, and share this out to any friends that are comics that want to maybe see something new, get into something different, more than like what the DC and Marvel and them are interesting. And because a lot of these books are really good, and really enjoyable. So until next time, everybody, have a great day, and I'll see you next time on a Hands of Blue review.